I want to introduce my panel of experts and guests who will be helping us sort through everything today. In the studio with me is Mark Sindler. He's a criminal defense attorney from Pennsylvania. Today's headline is, sex, and that always juices up a trial. The question is motive in this case.
You definitely have a second theory that works well with the first one, and that is, of course, the prophet that you had just mentioned. And it doesn't seem as if, as the first several weeks had indicated to us, that the storybook marriage of Mr. Peterson was that he said it was, or that his defense team was indicating. It indicates that that the defense at least has a problem, because so far the case has gone down the middle. You can't really tell until this past week whether the prosecution had an edge or the defense had an edge. It now seems as if the pendulum is swinging toward the prosecution with this latest theory.
So with all this at stake, he still has to come in. Might he plead the fifth?
If I'm his lawyer, he's going to plead the fifth, because I'm going to tell my client what to do. It's a bedrock principle of this country's legal system that you cannot be compelled to incriminate yourself. My understanding is that it's illegal to be an escort in the state of North Carolina. He is holding himself out as a male escort. Judge Hudson is going to do one of two things. He's going to hold the witness in contempt and have him carted off by deputy sheriffs to the local jail. More likely, it's my guess, the DA is going to be asking for a grant of immunity, not only in the county of Durham, but in the entire state of North Carolina, that anything he testifies to cannot be used against him as a result of this trial.
The defense calls him as a witness. That seems kind of strange, Mark Sindler.
Sometimes a murder prosecution can be stopped dead in its tracks due to what we call in the law the corpus delicti rule.
Right.
With no body, you can have no prosecution. It's mostly murder cases. You can have it as well in drug cases. If there's no drugs on the table, for instance, you can't have a drug prosecution. In this case, though, they've got a warm body. They've got Dies and Hasenkopf to put up there. And if you've got nothing else, that's what you go with as your strategy.
How do you keep that from a jury?
The law deals with that by getting what's called a change of veneer. You go to a different county, not in this case Bernalillo, you go to a different county in New Mexico,
right,
to pick a body of people, 12 jurors plus 2 alternates, to come down to Bernalillo to listen to the case.
Is she charged with the right crime? I mean,
you can certainly charge somebody when the murder has occurred. And your typical example is the wheelman when a convenience store is robbed. The person sitting outside in an idling car, when the gunman goes inside and perhaps the clerk is shot dead, the person is waiting outside to take 1 or 2 or more people away from the store when the murder's occurred. That is an accomplice, or what's called an inchoate crime, where the person himself was not directly responsible for the death of the victim, but an accomplice. And in this case, Cherie Miller was at least properly charged, because she was an accomplice. She either solicited or conspired to commit murder by engaging in the planning of the dirty deed.
Some of the people who are these reptilian beings include Hillary Clinton, Henry Kissinger, and the Queen of England.
This murder prosecution is happening in a state where people like the individuals in this cast of characters have for many years accused the U.S. government of being in cahoots with alien spaceships and beings from beyond our planet.
Roswell's not too far away.
In Roswell, New Mexico.
We have to say goodbye. I want to thank my guest, Mark Sindler, for joining me this morning. Excellent job. Really interesting.
It was great being here, Amanda. Thank you.
A very interesting day to be here.